Hi everybody, I'm Pam Atwood, gerontologist, certified laughter leader, and certified dementia practitioner. And joining to my left is my friend and colleague Madeline, and we're going to be helping you today with a video about driving. So I'm going to turn it now. We're going to focus on Madeline. There's Madeline.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so
how are you?
We are in our local parking lot at our local big chain grocery store, and Madeline is going to do the driving. I'm going to handle the camera work because otherwise it wouldn't be safe to be driving and camera work. So Madeline, go ahead. We're in the car, and go ahead. Do it like you would normally do.
Okay.
So normally you would have the radio on, right?
That's true. Normally I would have the radio on, and I'd probably be
now, one of the things that
first.
changes with aging is the range of motion. So I was turning on the radio. So can you do that again? I'm sorry.
See, that's why I usually have it on first, Pam, so I'm not distracted by the choice.
Right. Okay. So put on your seatbelt. See that range of motion in her shoulder, and
actually,
the strength to go in
when
here.
I had tennis elbow, this was very hard for me to do until I had some really good PT at Hebrew Healthcare.
Right, there you go. Okay. So now let's see what you're doing now. So go ahead, and you're going to be driving.
I'm going to check my
your
mirrors, and
Good.
because other people drive my car, I always have to sort of check my mirrors just to make sure they're how I need them.
Great.
Okay, I'm all set, and I'm ready.
Go ahead, and we're going to just drive around the parking lot.
Okay.
She puts it into drive. This is good. And
inch out, because you never know who's coming.
Right. So one of the things that happens as we are going to be finding out here is that there are lots of different things like obeying the street signs, like the little stop sign there, and then making sure that the road is clear. And as we're driving, one of the challenges that older adults sometimes have is in decision-making processes. So there goes another car, and we have another one coming here. So Madeline has to wait, and she has to be looking at that signal light to determine where they're going to go and seeing that it's safe to proceed. So part of the vision, I think we can all understand, but part of the changes is in identifying when someone else may be coming out in your lane, or if there's any safety issues. Anticipating hazards is a big one. So here we have the entrance to the store, and we have people who may come out, and because we're talking and there's lots going on, she's now turned down her radio to reduce the number of distractions. So now Madeline's going to try to pick a parking space. We're going to find a space, and she just saw that one too late. So the processing speed is a big part of this. When we're talking about cognitive changes in decision making and driving, it's not about how to drive. We know how to drive, how to operate the vehicle. That person's car lights are on, they may be backing up. Now we found, okay, now we've got the spatial orientation. How do we choose a spot and park in here without bumping or swiping the sides? Okay, so let's take a second here and let's talk about some of the cognitive things that just went on. So, thank you, Madeline. Good job so far. One of the things that we know has happened is multiple things to watch. There's cars, there's people, now I specifically chose a great day like today to do this. Here, let me turn this around. Because it's cloudy, so it's not sunny. Sun is not going to get in your eyes. There's no weather going on, and it's not too hot or anything like that. But there's so many other things that are going on, and I just wanted to point out a couple of things about this area. So I just saw someone else, I missed it, leaving, and there's trees, there's birds, there's potentially pets coming down from the neighbors on the hill. There's all kinds of different things going on in a parking lot, and lots of distractions. So whether it's your fan or your radio or whatever, you need to limit the number of distractions. The next is the processing speed, how much timing it takes to go and to anticipate other people's timing, the timing of other cars. Anticipating hazards is a big thing, and response time. So now let's back out of this spot, and we're going to talk about some of the other cognitive processes that are going on.
Now I have a rear view camera, and I do like it, and especially on cloudy days it is very clear, but sometimes you have to remember that you can't just rely on it, and you do have to still look. So I still, even though I have the camera, back up and look both ways.
One of the things that happens with older adults is they'll get very stiff and have some arthritis in the neck, And one of the things that happens is they immediately reduce the amount that they're looking back to check their blind spots. Now, if we're watching Madeline's face, and she's going to just keep driving, we're just going to keep looking, you can see, you can see some of the processes that are going on. So she was able to stop in time, anticipating that that car, who didn't maybe have its signal light on, was it going to stop, or was it going to pull into her lane, or was it going to cut her off? Then what we're going to do is we're also going to, she's put on her signal light. Now this happened to me just last night, where I put on my signal light. Ooh, whose turn is it? Ooh, she's waved them forward, even though technically she had the right of way. That kind of decision making also changes with cognitive processes related to driving. So, nice little plug for that bank there. Wow, I didn't mean to do that. Trying to keep the names out of it, the corporate names. So, one of the things that we also have to look at, though, is the decision of our cars and our brains just kind of sometimes automatically know where to go, and we don't always think clearly. Here comes a guy. Is he going to stop? Does he have the right of way? But he's not in the crosswalk. Too many hazards to think about here. People are parked, people are walking, we don't have any kids running through here, but we could. And so one of the things that happens a lot for older adults is the changes in not only their self-selection of what is safe or unsafe and their ability to drive, but it's the processes, the processing time, all of that changes. So we're at a really tough point here because we've got kids, we've got distractions with wines and spirits, and I'm thinking, oh yes, you know what, I really do need some wood to have a fire in my fireplace. Your brain is constantly processing visual and auditory stimuli. So add that to the processing time for driving, try not to hit this dude, it just becomes a very, very complex task. Okay, so some of the other errors, ooh, nice parking job, ooh, you can pull through too, like that. One of the things, and we can park right here, and I'll just kind of talk here, and you can tell me if I'm actually in the camera. Am I in the camera?
You are in the camera.
Oh, good, okay.
And I'm in the lines.
And you're in the lines, good. Yes, Madeline did a really good job to kind of keep in the lines. Some of the things I wanted to kind of also let people know, when you're evaluating someone's ability to drive, you want to make sure that they are not getting angry or confused while they're driving. That can be a big thing, and although occasionally we all hit a curb, and sometimes we all know, we think we know where we're going, but we actually end up going to work instead of where we were supposed to be going, or some other kind of thing where our brain takes over subconsciously. One of the things to be aware of is if people are getting lost, or if they're doing something routine but coming home later than or earlier than you think, then they haven't done all of the things that they were intending to do. Errors at intersections is probably one of the most dangerous things, and every time I hear that someone has gone the wrong way on a highway, I think that person has a cognitive impairment. It's just that much more common that it's a cognitive impairment than someone just becoming confused because of signage. I wanted to provide some resources for people. First of all, the Alzheimer's Association and the Hartford Insurance Company created some great resources for people several years ago. They're available for free at thehartford.com. Also, the Alzheimer's Association has put together a really good resource on dementia and driving on their alz.org center, their website. So if you go to www.alz.org, you'll get some resources there at their Dementia and Driving Resource Center. Also, if you need someone to evaluate someone's safety for driving, and I don't mean just how they operate a vehicle, remember that's very different than their ability to safely drive, you want to check out the American Occupational Therapy Association, the AOTA.org. You can find a driving assessment specialist in your area on their website. They have a search finder. There are events held locally in different communities called Car Fit, and a lot of times I'll have clients who say, oh, well, I went to an evaluation and they said, the driving was fine. What the Car Fit event is doing is really looking at your car's fitness, not the driver's fitness. So you want to make sure that the older adult that you're working with is actually getting evaluated for their cognitive abilities as well as their physical abilities to drive, as well as their knowledge of the road rules and how to operate a vehicle. The most important thing that I hope that this video will kind of help people with is that we need to start talking about driver retirement. And I know that that's a tough concept for a lot of us because we depend. Okay, so let's put it back on Madeline. Madeline, how are you going to feel?
Not at all very good about that because we need plans about how I'm still going to get around then.
And so let's talk
Because I
about
don't
that.
live in a city. I don't live where there's public transportation.
Right.
I live in a rural area, and I'm hyperventilating at the idea already, and I'm not going to lie, because this is an authentic show.
That's right. So let's talk about if your doctor or if your family member said you can't drive anymore, what would your first reaction be?
I'd be angry. I would then say, probably, how do you know what I can do because I've raised you?
Right.
And somewhere deep down I'd know they're doing this because they love me, but it wouldn't make it easier as they got in their car and went back to their house and I had no driving.
Right. So what does it mean? What would it mean if you had to give up driving? Let's say it was your doctor. Let's say it was your doctor who said, Madeline,
I feel like I have no independence. My world would shrink. Totally. Okay. I'd be lonely, depressed.
So if I said to you, Madeline, it's okay. We'll take you wherever you want to go. Is that going to help?
No.
Why?
Because it's only for the moment because your life goes on and everyone knows that about whatever event's happening to you. You have to deal with those changes yourself and they ultimately stay there and it's not happening to you. So it's not going to happen. Your independence is still there.
So you're of an age now, we'll call it middle age.
And I'm going to live a nice long life. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about what are you going to do, and maybe you can go home and talk to your husband Jim tonight and talk about your driver retirement plans. Because just like you both have started planning for your job retirement, you need to also start planning for driver retirement. Because in all likelihood, one or both of you at some point is going to have to stop driving before you want to. So you can plan it, or you could let it happen to you, but I know you both, and I don't think that would be a good option.
I guess the first thing that comes to my mind, although, is to save for, as you're saving money, maybe to put some aside specifically for transportation issues.
It's a good idea.
Because you're going to need rides to the doctor, you're going to need rides to a hospital, unfortunately, and maybe you could even prioritize your transportation by, essential medical transportation and social transportation, both important.
I was going to say, you could tell you work in healthcare because my first reservations would be trips to the restaurant, trips to the movie theater, trips to...
I'm doing both. I also live in a
Hartford
rural
stage,
area.
right.
So, you have to plan where you live matters in terms of transportation,
Right.
certainly, and ability to seek healthcare. And then I think you have to maybe find... I don't know, maybe you have to think about living in a different area at the right time of life that allows you to have an assisted living in a complex or being more in a college environment kind of town and model. Excellent. Where you can walk and get your coffee and a movie and see it.
It's normal for everybody else.
Right, because just because you can't drive, it doesn't mean you can't read a book and it doesn't mean you don't have something still to say and contribute.
Yes.
So that's what,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's the end of our show today. So, from Pam and Madeline,
hi, safe travels.
Safe travels, and
wear your seatbelt.
Protect your head. Remember that we are here on YouTube, so if you can subscribe to our channel, we'd appreciate it. You can check out more at www.agingcareacademy.org, and you can follow me on Instagram at pamela.atwood. Thanks for watching. Bye, Mad.
Bye.